yeah, without there ever being any kind of acknowledgement about how like how really how nasty they're being by just like telling these stories. So I guess, I mean, maybe I can guess kind of the origin of that an entire musical with all these people like involved. Sure, I guess I might as well address that. I was, you know, just kind of really stuck in my life. Never really got a chance to do the things that I wanted to do. Vermont is a very small place. Burlington's a small town. There's not really a lot of room for really much expression whatsoever. And I had been there for like forever. I was like, what was I, my 30, around 30, something like that. So, and really not having had any sort of like good luck whatsoever with finding a counselor who did not treat me like I was a total moron. Really, most of the time. A few of them were alright. You know, most of them really kind of weren't. And they just it was just all this big, confusing, horrible mess all the time. So, I mean, I think the particular incident that's being referred to is a sad incident, actually, where it's this guy, and we were at my apartment, and I had this I had just gotten out of the hospital, first of all, like just like not very long ago, and I had told him this. I said this to him. I said, I'm not really ready to be in a relationship with anybody. But there, you know, but he was just kind of around. He was not. I mean, eventually he ended things with me, but that turned out to be a good thing, because I was just, you know, I mean, I was just miserable. I had lost my job. I had been in the hospital. Had realized that my therapist was a psycho, which is kind of felt about her from the very beginning, but then I just was so desperate when I met her that I stayed with her. And like nothing had really worked out the way I wanted to ever. Right? And so, I wanted to like do, I don't know, I like wanted to be like sexy or whatever. So I went through this, I have remembered that time in terms of like how I've thought about that incident a few times, like, oh my god, it's so sad. So I just kind of kept putting stuff on. Like he was like in my room, sitting on my bed, and I would like go, I think, it was all very like confused and like mixed up and like not just kind of like sad and pathetic, right? It's like I had these, I just like, kept taking things from like my very meager wardrobe and like bringing them into the bathroom, and then I put them on and I come back out for like a minute, and then I walk. It was like a combination of like really sad, pathetic attempt to be sexy and like some kind of dumb fashion show. Like why would he even be interested in that? And I didn't even really have a lot of clothes at all because I was so poor. But I had this one pair of boots that I had bought. I had bought them actually for Halloween. Like this fun Halloween thing that I did like a few years before, and I had worn them a few times out. They were just kind of like plain black, like fake leather boots you could get at like Payless with like not a particularly high heel, maybe a couple inches, 2-3 inches, something like that like zip up and they weren't even, I don't think they even went to my knee, you know. And I would sometimes wear them with after Halloween I sometimes wore them with boots, that kind of thing, like not boots, jeans, that kind of thing. In the winter, and that was it. But I wore those, I don't know, I wore them with like, I don't know, I like went into the bathroom and came back out and was like in them in like a skirt, or I think maybe I put on the Halloween outfit I'd had like those few years ago or whatever. But that was it. And then I went back out and I changed back to something else. I mean, it was all sad and pathetic and not kinky at all. But of course, it seems to me this is a person who really likes to exaggerate. Was not nice to me when we were dating. I would tell him things like personal things, and he would like throw them in my face later in this really nasty way, and then I would see this look of sadistic pleasure come over his face. I mean, this is not a nice guy, right? Who was also young. I think he was like in his early 23, something like that. And I shouldn't have been with him anyway. But there wasn't really anybody my age, you know, in Burlington at the time. They've been talking about that for years. I mean, they just have this. It's like a college town. You age out by the time you're 25. There's people who get married and have kids, and so there's like of that family thing. But as far as like single, productive people, you know, around my age group at that time, there really kind of wasn't. It really kind of just wasn't. It was, people would just like leave. Most of them would just kind of like leave. They'd be gone. You know, 30 you're already old, right? And then there's a huge population of people who are like 65 and older, that kind of thing. So it wasn't even my choice to be dating guys who were younger than me, but that's kind of mostly, that's all there was around, right? So yeah, so it seems like an entire musical has been, and yet another monstrous story about me has been created based on the lies of this person, you know. And this sad, terrible, you know, terrible time of my life, like many of the other sad and terrible incidents that I have been through or been part of in some way.